Right, hi folks. So just coming back with just a little video just to, as always, I say this all the bloody time. Just coming back with a little video just to keep content going through the channel. So I'm currently extremely busy writing a site report for some work I did down near Reading last year, and I need to get it written. So I finally got my backside into gear, and I'm writing that up. So I'm a bit busy at the minute. But I wanted to come back and just show you something interesting. So I've already covered anti-landing obstacles and things like that, and in a previous video, which I'll link in the description below. But I've already established that these obstacles were nothing to do with defending against gliders, and obviously they were nothing to do with the home guard as well. But I just thought I'd come back and show you this lovely little map that I've got. In the two core, what is it? The command two core general staff war diary. So this relates to the obstruction of landing grounds suitable for enemy aircraft. Again, remember these were for obstructing the landing and taking off of enemy aircraft, nothing to do with gliders. So one of the key things here as well is that I'm going to reiterate is the responsibility for the works, and also defending these areas. Again, this is something that is seen pretty much all the time has been a home guard thing when in reality it wasn't. But the key things here are the RAF are responsible for obstruction works within the distance specified in paragraph 3 below of RAF aerodromes and landing grounds. The Army are responsible for obstruction within the distance specified in paragraph 3 below of ports, practicable beaches, so beach areas where aircraft can be landed and taken off. Federal Aviation Authority aerodromes, civil aerodromes where there is no RAF station commander, and specifically selected vulnerable points. See 1B above. There we go. So through the scope of works then, any work within 5 miles of the above named places, so operational aerodromes, ports, vulnerable beaches and all this stuff, vulnerable points, would have been the responsibility of different units. So the RAF would be responsible for obstructing areas where aircraft could land and take off within 5 miles of aerodromes, and the Army would do everything else. So one of the ways of administering this was obviously to create maps. So maps, obviously today we've got things like Google Earth where you can, and other GIS systems where we can quickly put together a digital map and send that to anyone across the world. In the 1940s, obviously they didn't have computers and things, so they would rely quite heavily on maps to visually represent various aspects of defence and all this other stuff. And maps are really cool because they provide a visual, a really quick and easy way of visualizing specific things, let's say. And maps are really, really nice to look at. Today, there are issues where people just look at maps and don't look at the associated documentation, for example. So if someone goes to the archives, you see quite a bit where someone will find a nice map and then they won't look at the associated information. But the associated information with these maps is pretty much more important than the maps themselves. But maps are really nice. So what we have here is Two Corps area, which was pretty much most of Norfolk, all the way inland as far as parts of Bedfordshire. And we've got on here these circles, which have been drawn around specific things, which I've previously mentioned. So on this map, the solid circles, or solidly outlined circles, are RAF airfields. That would be the responsibility of the RAF in terms of putting obstructions, and then the hashed areas are those areas which would be the responsibility of the Army to deny to enemy aircraft and the like. So clearly we've got most of the coastal areas of Norfolk, we've got boundaries around Yarmouth and Lynn. Not too sure what that is. That might be Wisbech. Not 100% sure. But yeah, this gives us a really nice indicator of who was responsible for obstructing these various areas. Nice and quick and easy to visualize. One thing as well which is really cool about this is on like Permatrace or tracing paper or something similar. Unfortunately it's rather faded, but what they would do with these is draw it up on this Permatrace, and then what you do is get your associated map, which is usually marked on here, but then what you have is these coordination points here. So you've got a cross which has got the coordinates on there, which you overlay onto the map, and then you can visualize even better where these areas are. We've also got the boundary between 11 Corps as well there. Um, but yeah, maps are absolutely fantastic. And this is a good example of the level of planning that went into something as simple, or something that would be seen as very simple today. And you can clearly see that someone spent a lot of time overlapping and outlining which areas would be the responsibility of the RAF, which would be their responsibility, the Army's responsibility, and all this stuff. But it gives us a quick and easy way of seeing how this scheme of anti-landing obstacles and denying enemy aircraft places to land and take off would have been implemented at a local level. And again, shows you that this level of planning, it wasn't just someone went, right, come and block all these fields. There was a rationale behind it. There was planning go into it. They didn't just randomly do this stuff. And again, it goes against this idea that nothing was planned and everything was amateur, when in reality this was a professional military. This is the output of a professional military operating in the UK, and this is something that we can see today. In the documentary record, we can see this professionalism and the way that they administered tasks at a set level. But yeah, I thought this is a really nice map. What I want to do with this is geo-reference this and get it overlaid onto my GIS, and I could even just do it automatically. Anyway, that's something I want to do in the future. Anyway, it'll give me a bit more information. Anyway, yeah, just popping back with that. Normal service will resume as soon as I've got my backlog of reports out of the way. I've got an academic paper to write as well once I've done the reports and all this stuff. But yeah, I'll just keep the steady trickle of content coming through the channel. Cheers, folks. I shall catch you next time. Goodbye.